2017 for the state as a whole was basically characterized by tight supply and modest upward pressure on values. Now, the bad news about the tight supply was it got a little frustrating for first-time buyers who waded into a marketplace only to find out that in many segments, suddenly there's a tsunami of other competing buyers, multiple offer situations. So that played sometimes in sellers' favor, but the other frustration for our members is that sometimes means there could have been quite a bit more business to be transacted had there been enough inventory out there to work with. Overall, to be in a tight supply situation and the modest but controlled upward pressure on prices is not a bad thing. Well, affordable housing, when it comes to inventory and not having as much as everyone would like, affordable housing is always the challenge. The only way to expand the supply is to build new homes, and the new homes are always going to be more expensive than modestly priced older homes. So you always are going to have some imperfections with where exactly the most plentiful supply is, because the segments where we can increase the supply are not going to be those most affordable segments to buy in. So my best guess for 2018 would be we've been on a fairly steady trajectory. So I would be very surprised if any of the things that have characterized our market in 2017 made a really sudden or drastic change. I suspect that we'll stay more or less on that same sort of trajectory with 2018 continuing to see more of that tight supply. And it's, again, not a crisis level. People can get homes, but tight supply with continued ongoing, relatively modest upward pressure on price. So my crystal ball is a little cloudy right this minute because we've got this uncertainty of tax reform swirling around Capitol Hill in DC. A couple of points about tax reform. First of all, largely thanks to the realtors' efforts on calls for action and other lobbying, the tax reform proposals have become much less aversive to our industry than they look like they might be originally. But I think it's safe to say that tax reform, if it passes, is not going to be anywhere near as negative for Illinois as it could have been. So with that being the case, I don't see that we're looking at an apocalyptic scenario brought to you by Washington and your friends on Capitol Hill, but rather something that may cause some negative impacts for some segments and possibly positive impacts for others in Illinois. Illinois may be a slight net loser in that overall equation, but I don't see tax reform, at least how it's shaping up right now, looking like it's going to be a big enough negative force to suddenly knock our market off the rails, which of course is a really important thing for our practitioners and for homeowners.